Rage on that beat, going crazy.
Hey, good morning, chat. Morning, guys. So, man, gold has been predominantly kind of moving down a little bit bearish over here. So I'm thinking, we got a range below support by 33.35. We have about what, like 30 pips. 30 pips. We're gonna dive into the fundamentals here in a bit, though. Want to see how to take this sell. Man, my light just stopped working here. Literally just a couple minutes before stream started. Oh, I gotta replace that thing now. It is weird. You always get the technical problems right when you need something the most is when something goes weird. But when you don't need it, everything works perfectly. But yeah, I'm looking for a sell. I've been noticing like the previous sessions have been moving down. We've been pretty much for the most part just been moving bearish. Here, as you can see, this was from Wednesday. Pushing down, pushing down. What else? What else? Yeah, and we got the EU. We got some fundamentals over here, actually, that I wanted to read up on. Let's see. Gold holds decline as US and EU reach a deal. See, gold hovered around 33.30 per ounce on Monday, following 3 consecutive sessions of losses, as newly announced US-EU deal shaped demand for safe haven asset. Move this here a little bit more. Let's see if I can bring this slide. All right, let's see here. Meanwhile, investors are bracing for a busy week ahead, featuring Federal Reserve policy. All right, nice. The Fed is widely expected to keep rates unchanged, but investors are closely watch for any signals of potential rate cut in September. Yeah, we got a... Don't we have FOMC this week? Should be this week, right? Yeah, this is last week. In 2 days, we have FOMC. We got Powell coming on in 2 days. Look at this. But it looks like we just have it at no change currently still. So, yeah, we're not expecting any changes on the USD. However, these tariffs are what is bringing price down bearish. And yeah, I think that's going to be the main thing. But right now, technically speaking, we are at some sort of level of support here on the daily time frame. So, we could just be setting up for the week still. We could just be setting up for the week. How the hell do we do this? I think that should be good. All right, back on the charts, back on the charts. Ready to smash a new week. What's good, Tall Trader? What's good, Tarek? What's good, Walker? Marcel, Ellie, Nani. What's up, guys? What's up? Morning, Ricardo, Luke. So yeah, I think like, man, if price especially starts to come down, we have this ADA SMA over here, which is going to act like dynamic resistance for that daily. So I think that's going to look pretty nice. But as I did say, it's Monday over here. The markets could still be setting up for the week because I see it's trying to advance a little bit more. It's creating new higher highs over here, but at the same time, it's struggling to move up. You can look at the way that price is kind of behaving over here. So we're just looking at the context of what price is doing and also what we're expecting with the fundamentals here for the London session. Because remember, like, London session has been ranging a lot. So I want to see a little bit more of a direction. So I think we'll get the direction if we can break below support over here. If we can break above, or let's say below support, then I think we can get a bearish continuation on gold. Then, price can move down. What was my exact buy entry, please? You can come over here on the Discord. I always post them. You can come on here. We got before, after pictures, the signal right here too. So you got all the data you need. You can come here on... Well, I guess on the spreadsheet, it's more like timing and the setup and the date. Ooh, 45% this month. Man, this has been a crazy month. I think I took way too many trades this month. I overtraded this month. Way too many trades. Way too many trades. But we got how many more days? Today, 1, 2, 3, 4 more days. We have 4 more days for the month to end. Yeah, I think if price pushes down, we can definitely see a good probability for a continuation. Now the question is, can we get a tighter stop loss? Can we get a tighter stop? Put that here. Boom, boom, boom. Come down here. Yeah, I feel like it would be nice to get a tighter stop loss. Daily time frame would be flipping as well below this level. We'll be getting a reflip of the daily. So the daily definitely is not yet bearish. So I kind of want to be a little bit careful. Oh, there's a nice little sell over here. But yeah, I think I want to be a little bit careful on the daily. I mean, like trading inside of this range, because inside of this range is where price created a new higher high. You know, if we stayed below this level, then I would feel more confident if price respected that area that we can continue to move down like this. But since we broke ahead and created a new higher high, it could be a shift of or a change in direction. You know, so I'm going to be a bit cautious over here. I'm going to be a little bit cautious here and wait. And wait. I didn't already overtrade a bit today, but those swing entry are playing well. Today I was supposed to not trade, already took 2 trades, but I need to do accounting. But if there's a trade on stream, I'll take it. I think overtrading is down to the individual. For me, overtrading is anything above 3 positions a day because of how my time is scheduled. But someone who does it full time may be able to stay fresh. Yeah, I think so. I think you know, the thing is, the way in my mind's eye how I think of overtrading is usually by the time I'm taking the 3rd trade, I'm already exhausted. You know, I'm already mentally exhausted. Mentally, I don't want to take another trade. Because, you know, the first trade that I take, that's going to be the pre-London. And, you know, that's going to be maybe... I think I trade the pre-London for 2 hours. 2 hours, then we got a London session, 3 hours. Man, so by the time I'm getting to that 3rd trade, this is the pre-New York time. Pre-NY. So this is like the last trade of the day. And then, you know, I got to do something else. Because I think beyond that pre-New York time, you're basically now trading, for me at least, a whole day. Because you got NY open and then you might as well just... you know, have been trading the whole day. That's how I look at overtrading. I got in buys at 33, 38.52 and have broken even. Nice. I feel like we got a kind of head and shoulders pattern here. We have left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Break below these lows. Price to move down. I kind of want to see a structure form like a little bit more like this. And then come down for me like this. The thing is, I don't want to impulse entry the sells here at this point. Because, you know, London session has been consolidating. Ooh, look at GJ. Wait, let me first set an alert here. Just in case. Just in case the market pulls a quick one. All right, so let's see. We got GJ here. It's like chopping around quite a bit. Let's go on the daily. See, daily time frame. All right, so we got like a daily support region here. We got a daily resistance. Oh man, GJ looks so terrible. Man, I miss GJ from 2020, 2025, 2026. GJ used to trend a lot. You know, every time we had this Brexit news, man, pound would just go up. And you just have candlesticks moving with volume. I miss those days. Now all we get is ranging GJ, you know? Just consolidating there. Yeah, so this is a thing that I'm kind of like cautious about because, you know, this is now becoming like a no trade zone. So we got a no trade zone because even you see as we're breaking these lows, you have another support region right here, here. This is resistance. You got another resistance up over here. So let's see how big this range is. So from here to here, we have about what, 13 pips? 13 pip range for buys. Yeah, I think we gotta wait. Oh, you took a sell. Let's see. Candlestick create a support. Breakout support. Bearish on gold to come down to fill this range at 33.36.80. Yeah, I think this is a good trade. I think this is a good trade. That SMA wouldn't worry me too much because, you know, you're focusing on price. I'll say that was a good try. That was a good trade. So this one came down 65% hit. Oh, damn. The structure changed. The candlestick reflipped. Holy. Candlestick pulled back all the way up and then closed like a bullish doji. I was wondering if this was a different chart. Yeah, that's wild. Let's see. This candle also had just about 2 minutes to close. Man, 2 minutes? 2 minutes and candle just reflipped? A nice, awesome trade. What is this? There's some kind of advertising here. Someone's advertising a robot. A robot could never replace a human trader. And you know, it's better that you learn how to trade because the robot can never be a better trader than a human. You know, it can stay up longer. It can take more trades, but it can't make the right decisions when it's time to become flexible. But yeah, now you see price is kind of like wicking here quite a bit. Yeah, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything here. GJ looks like it's preparing to blow up above 200. Yes. Man, that's exactly, I think, what GJ is preparing to do. Especially here on the quarterly, we can start moving up, you know. We got quarterly, nice little liquidity grab situation that happened here off this candlestick. Candle close above small little resistance, breaking the previous highs. We just need to get through that psychological mark. Then I think, you know, price can continue moving up here a bit more. Get some volume in and start heading up towards, like, I think at that point, then we're looking at, you know, 250. 250 as the next mark. Because, you know, why would we consolidate there for such a long time to only move such a short space? Like here and then come down or something, you know? I think it's going to be heading at 250 then by resistance. This is accumulating. Because remember what we said, sometimes when price has like a really strong level to break, it's going to accumulate right next to that level and then start to break. And then price will start moving there with volume. So yeah, I think that's what GJ is trying to do. And when that time comes, maybe then we're going to start looking at some GJ positions, you know. Because GJ should trend really nice during the London session. Because, you know, it is a pound as well. It is a pound, so that would be a nice line up there with the London. Yeah, I think I'm going to remove this tool short position here because price doesn't seem like it's going to be going anywhere. Oh, why not overtrade if they're A plus? Because even A plus trades can lose. Ben, like sometimes your A plus trades just lose and your other trades win. You know, your C grade or the riskier trades, those end up winning. There are times in the market where it's like, you know, you have to be a bit more impulsive with your trades. So it's kind of like too many emotional decisions. Like too many emotional thoughts are going to be going through your head. You know, when you overtrade, you're going to be constantly doing analysis, constantly looking for trades. And what happens is you obviously take the crappier trades. You know, but the best trades are the ones which just come to you naturally. I think overtrading, yep. Let's see. What happened to Friday's stream? Oh, Friday we just didn't stream. I decided to stop myself from taking too many trades. The only amount to overtrade and get, yes sir. But if you keep doing it, then you know you open yourself to more risk. That's the thing. But we'll see how it goes. I think, you know, the way the market is as well, you also have to look at the way the market is, correct? Like if there's volume and there's like very clear trends and that sort of thing, then obviously, you know, obviously then you can take advantage. Like those previous 2 days, how we took advantage of that volume, you know, like how I got my 6% trade is because I noticed that price was just like all these signals here were just flying. They were skyrocketing. So it's like, why not take this opportunity, correct? Like, why not? Why not? There's volume in here. You know, you see your candlesticks are moving. Because this month, man, I've been seeing like my take profits are just flying through these levels. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me just try and take more positions here then. Look at these. These are all the trades. Just been flying. Even the one today kind of flew. Look at this. Price just flies. So that also makes me feel like taking more trades. But I'm gonna wait for Goldie here to come down for me a bit more. Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. Sometimes when you overtrade, you can see an A plus setup where there isn't. Yes. Because, you know, if I look at my sessions, there's usually maybe 1 or 2 big distributions like this. You know, just 1 or 2. 1 or 2, and you're just trying to catch one. So you see, this was the pre-London push here. And then looks like before London Open, we had another sell. So since the London Open, there hasn't been any other sort of entries. Like there hasn't been any sort of distribution yet. And that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to survive the consolidation part of PA during the session that you're trading. And catch these little bumper clots here. Little bumper clot up here, little bumper clot down there. That's actually quite a nice sell here. And then price ranges. It sets up again, and then maybe we're gonna get that next bumper clot happening below support there. It's a decent range. You know, I think that was what, 30 pips we said? Yeah, just about 30. It's about a 30 pipper. How you know if A plus isn't playing out though? You're gonna know when your stop loss gets hit or when you're coming into drawdown. But you see, the thing is, like, there's a few things you need to know before getting into your trade. Is obviously the risk, what type of risk that it is that you're taking, I think is the most important. You know, because let's say you can have an A plus setup for a buy, But what if the trend is bearish? You know, like structurally speaking, you could have like your liquidity grabs. Price can be at a, you know, maybe like a 4-hour level of support over there, like some higher time frame levels. But let's say the overall trend is moving down. You know, there's always some kind of risk that you take. So that's why A plus also, you know, that's why if you start to get drawdown, you got to look at how can you like reduce that drawdown. Correct? Just in case it's a HTF continuation. Nice little SMA confluence here. Got the 8 and 50 holding up this candlestick. Yep, it looks like it is what it is. Looks like it is stuck in some kind of a consolidation here between this wick and that wick. It's about 100 pips. 100 pip consolidation. What I'm anticipating this can be is that we might consolidate here. If we don't end up moving down, then we're just gonna consolidate here up until pre-New York. Pre-New York, the daily looks pretty nice. To be honest though, like there's a lot of room for the daily to move up. Over here off these daily support regions. Man, so much space. You have like, you know, 867 pips here. But obviously I think if price moves up, then that's what we're going to be expecting for the week. So not for today. So we might expect like, you know, a bullish closure over here and then for the next candles to, you know, start pushing up. Stop moving up like this. Onwards to 34.30. And I think, you know, that's going to be good because that's going to give us direction for the week. My internet stopped working. Famous last words. Yeah, we should be back. We should be back now. OBS kind of acting weird. Yeah, this is like a trial stream because I changed my GPU over the weekend. So I changed my graphics card and I just want to see that everything is going to be working good. So we're for testing this new GPU. The market is setting up for FOMC and NFP. This week is purely fundamental. Forget about technicals after Tuesday. Oh yeah, we got FOMC and NFP. That's a good point. So we could end up just, you know, you have to be cautious at that point then, because if you notice like a lot of wicks, a lot of like back and forth, and I think that's what we may get. But you know, you don't want to speculate too much. Just trade what it is that you see. You know, so if we do see consolidation and a lot of wicks, then we know why that's happening, and I think that's the important thing. That's the important thing, because the worst thing is like when you see it consolidate and wicking and you don't know why it's doing that, then it gets a bit risky. What GPU is it? It's RTX 4070 Super. Yeah, I think it should be nice to play like, you know, 2K games, like games in 2K. And I just think it needed an update. That was my first time actually opening up the PC as well. Kind of a scary experience. Something went wrong? Damn. If something went wrong, holy. But it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. You know, I was playing over the weekend, The Last of Us 2. I played the first one a really long time ago, so I got the remastered Last of Us 2. Such a good game, man. Just the storyline is amazing. Yeah, The Last of Us 2 has some serious realistic gore. The fighting mechanics are awesome, like very realistic. You can use the environment, and you know, I love games like that. Like you can tell the developers put a lot of work into making it feel real. And you know, there's a right way to play it. You gotta be like all sneaky and stuff. So nice. I hate they ruined the series though. I can't get over the new actor that they put in. Completely doesn't look like Ellie. That's the only thing. But oh well. I think the stop loss here is still too big. This is overextending. Need to calm down and create like some kind of resistance here. So this is the key support here. 33, 37. The first game was great. The sequels were bad because they changed the director and put it all edgy LGBT stuff. Let's see here. Let's see. What's new? Trading View. Deepcoin brings crypto futures data to Trading View. Ooh, look at this. Also, the 30-minute looks clean below support here. This is the death zone, right? So this is the death zone we want to avoid. See, this candlestick here doesn't also have a top wick. Very tiny baby top wick. That's a death zone. We need to move from this area. See, hourly, we got hourly SMA there. But even the hourly looks good. Hourly clean candlestick body is over here. About 37 pips down. Ooh, we got a nice little kiss of death. SMAs are holding from, let's say, I think, what time frame? From the 30. From the 30, look at the 15. Got 15-minute right there. But we also have this one at the 50. You see right here? So we also need to get through this one for price to continue moving down. Because right now, SMAs look like that, right? So we're anticipating some kind of sideways movement. But also 5-minute looks good. And 5-minute looks like it really bullied this candle over here. Look at both these hands are holding the candlestick down. Barely a top wick. What is that even? 0.2 pips? Let's see. 0.1 pip. 0.1 pip. It's coming down quite heavy. Hopefully, you know, this could be the right shoulder too. So you have left shoulder, head, right shoulder, volume. That may be coming in now. But yeah, my stop is still a bit too big. Come on down for us. Yeah, something like this. And look for something like this. If we were trending heavily, I would take the sell. I would take the sell if we were just trending heavily. But you know, the daily right now is not trending. We're only at negative 0.01%. If we were trending heavy, I would just take the sell. I'll probably look for some sells, even some around here. But what I think happened was a small little liquidity grab. So what happened here is like sellers got into the market, they got taken out. And now you see, now it's rushing into their direction after taking them out. Have I put a position? No, not yet. I'm just sitting on my hands here now. Is that head and shoulders on the 5? Yes. Yeah, this is a head and shoulders. So we're gonna get head and shoulder confluence as well. Candlestick comes down like this, and then get the next candlestick, create a support first, and then continue to move downwards. You know, and then you're gonna look at the structure and say that made sense. In hindsight, if price continues to move down like this, like visually speaking, you're gonna say, you know, that made sense. That made sense that price moved down. So, you know, like it's always clear in hindsight, but before you get it, then obviously, you know, you feel like anything can happen. Before you get a move, you always say like, oh, what about this? You know, what about you got a support over here? And then price goes like that. So it can like you can overcomplicate your trading sometimes because anything can happen. All right. It's only in hindsight, it looks very easy. Like, but you got to get good at that, developing that to not only have it in hindsight, but to also anticipate the move happening. You know, if you're always anticipating what market's going to do, then when it does it, obviously you're going to feel really good about your confluences. If you go on the channel, we actually do this a lot. You can watch the previous videos that I upload on my channel. You can see exactly how I do that, exactly how I draw it. And then when it happens, it's like, this is my move. You know, but for now, I think you just got to wait. Let's see how it reacts at 33.35.84. Yeah, because, you know, we could have a reaction over here. Price might move up for a bit more and then come down. And that's kind of what I want to see. Even though we're at a daily support area, just because it's like London time, I'm anticipating that we're just going to continue moving down. So if you see how we've been moving here since Wednesday, and this is all fundamentally driven, correct? All this volume to the downside. This is all fundamentally driven. You see how it just keeps coming down? And now we're at a key time. Look at this. We're at a key time in the market. This is a London session right here. So we got a key time in the market that we can get that accumulation downwards. But man, it looks like price might just go without me here. Because it's already coming down, but I don't want to get in yet. I want to wait. I want to wait for a resistance to fast form. It's getting a bit volatile there. I would much rather wait for that resistance. At least get some buy orders in and then trap the buyers for the continuation. That's what we gotta do. Come on, Goldie, give us some pullbacks. You know, because the thing I'm trying to avoid is getting caught in some drawdown here, as we haven't yet had any pullbacks. So let me just remove this. We haven't had any pullbacks. So you have 1, 2, 3 candlesticks coming down. The daily is not that bearish. It's just reflipping now. So what I'm trying to avoid is a situation like where it breaks and then it starts to pull up. Because if it breaks right now and then pulls up, then I can get the continuation. Hopefully it doesn't break. Oh, hopefully it doesn't break too much. Now look at this. Now look at this. Hopefully it does not break too much. There should be enough room here to move. See, this is that potential pullback that I'm trying to avoid. But let's see the hourly though. Hourly has not had a move. I think it's trying to have a move. Probably the move there was the fake out over here, which started from resistance by 34.41, and that was just like a more random move in my eyes. Nice little distribution here though, gotta admit. A little break of these lows. Maybe stop loss above here, about 22 pips for that distribution. This is something I would have taken, but I would have loved something more like that to happen. If we were trading at least below 33.37. It's quite a tricky one. We just got a candlestick here, close below support as well. See, can you pull up for us? Let me say on the 1 minute. Might require a 1 minute entry. Well, we'll see how that sets up. Because there's an accumulation it's breaking from here now. If you consider that it's been ranging this whole time, moving sideways, it's starting to break from the accumulation. You know, so it's trying to correct this move over here. So might look for a sell continuation on the 1 minute to continue pushing down towards support. But until then, let me just see how candlesticks behave over here. Might very well get my support. I need your SMA indicator. You can get links in the description. See my L. Oh yes, that was just a, looks like a small liquidity run here. That's really annoying. Yeah, small liquidity run. Let's see. I say you still need a commitment from gold. It is creating new lower lows though. If you notice here, we got lower low, lower low, lower low. It is pushing down. It's just these pullbacks that you need to be a bit cautious of. But it creates a new lower lows, pulls back up, new lower low, pull back up, new lower low, pull back up. I'm anticipating this was a London Open fake out. And I think gold only starts to really move upwards if we can break above resistance by 33.43, at least on the HDF. Because, you know, just because it created a resistance, a new higher high once, doesn't mean that you're going to get a change of character. And the change of character, it only works when price keeps moving in that direction too. For a little bit longer, at least on the higher time frame. Because then that just becomes like a potential fake out. Price starts to push above, resistance, right shoulder, break below. Well, I think we're going to get what I want to see, which is a support to be formed here. Going to get a support to be formed by, you know, this 33.35.78. And then for price to keep moving down like this. So if this was on the 1 minute, I would also look at it the same way. You know, let's say if this was a break here on the 1 minute time frame, then it's like, okay, so you haven't yet gotten into your trade. The moment it re-breaks the lows is kind of like a confirmation that price wants to continue moving in that direction. So that's something I also do sometimes on the 1 minutes. is I wait and see how candlesticks are breaking, especially if there's a few seconds left on the 1 minute candle that's about to break. So I know like there's time for it to close. See how it closes. Next candlesticks usually act like this and say, okay, I'm not in yet. But if we can get a re-break of the lows, then, I think price can come down, Like, I think, okay, so if you're looking at this on the daily time frame, obviously it might look like, where's price going to go? You have a daily support over here, so it can be kind of difficult for price to move through these levels. But remember what I said, like, usually when price consolidates at a key level, it's trying to build momentum to get through that level. So that's what I'm anticipating, that this consolidation is here. Because also that lines up nicely with news. News didn't load. Wait, why is this not loading? Gold futures edge higher but remain subdued on easing safe haven demand. That's the thing that I'm kind of looking to catch over here, easing safe haven demand. And a break of that daily support here. At least we have some range on the LTF. So, this is looking pretty good so far. You see if this candlestick here can close. Give me that resistance. There, resistance. Did you see that what's his name? Mackerel. Is it Mackerel? Macron, sorry. Call him a fish. I'm thinking about food. Yeah, so Macron suing Candace Owens. I believe that's the name. For that that piece she did about his wife being a man. Man, it is crazy. If you watch that little documentary she did, she actually put in quite a lot of work, and some things really don't add up. So Macron is freaking trying to sue her, a freaking YouTuber. That's the first time in history that I've heard of a president suing a YouTuber in a different country. That's some serious work over there. Let's do about a... Let me see here. Candlestick is about to close soon. Gotta lock in a bit. Let's do about, 40.2 pips. Above this area here. My wife, she is not a man. His husband. Yeah, it's a bit strange that there's like no pictures of her. You can barely find pictures of her like actually growing up, which is kind of strange. Let's see how much we got over here. 40.2. All right, so let's see. I need gold to prove to me that it wants to continue moving down. Because you also got some small little buy range above here. It's about like 28 pips. Because she grew up before photos were invented? What do you mean, man? Photos have existed like... For such a long time, photos have been existing. Publish some learning lectures, please. Yes. I'm gonna do that today. I'm gonna try and publish a lecture today. Just a short lecture. Some slides. Okay, perfect. Candlestick here is closed bearish. Created that resistance. Oh, look at this. Look at how volume is just coming in right now. I feel like the way gold is moving, it's not even moving based off technicals so much. It's a lot of like, it's a lot of fundamental work. This range is not, it's not that big of a range. So I'll be looking to secure somewhere around the bottom of that range. It's not that big of a range. Because we're coming down to, once we start heading towards a 33.32, we have like, obviously there's a support here by 33.32. Then stop loss to break even by, you know, 33.33. That's what I'm thinking. And then price can continue to move down. You know, if it moves down, it moves down. So at this point, it's just going to be a lot of heavy lifting. If price moves beyond support over here, it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting from the market. Yeah, I want to see this bearishness come in. Usually, whenever price is driven by fundamentals, it just disrespects levels. You might think that it might not be able to move down for XY reasons, but fundamentals create that volume. So now it's trying to break out of the accumulation right over here. So this was the accumulation above this level. It did like a small lower low. It retraced. Now I think the next time it breaks it, I'm actually expecting a lot of volume to come in on this next break. Because also this retracement was not as big. You know, these previous retracements were big, right? These previous retracements, but this is kind of like a smaller one. This would be a smaller one as it re-breaks those lows in confluence with the London session open. London session volume. So we got fundamentals on our side. Now, question is, can I get triggered? Dumping to take out the Asia lows. Yes, sir. Oh, Asia lows all the way down there. All right, looks like I might be getting triggered in here soon. Price is now flirting with the 33.34. It slightly broke below that wick. So close. Got one more 1 minute candle here for the 5 closure. It's gonna be basically like, I think it would be like a shotgun play, but with a bigger stop. All right, awesome. So I'm in. Let's see, how did this candlestick close? Nice, it closed below support. Will be perfect now to see it re-break the previous lows. Yeah, if it re-breaks the previous lows, we're gonna have that a classic little shotgun play. This previous candle on the 5 doesn't have a top wick though. So I don't know, sometimes the candlesticks pull up to create the top wick within this region and then continue. Nice little SMAs, at least within that range of where my stop is. Got a bit of dynamic resistance. Oh no. You're creating a top wick. What time is it right now? All right, so we got the new hourly opening here soon as well. We got a new hourly opening in about 4 minutes. See, just create a top wick for the previous candle. Yeah, sometimes it does that when there's no top wick on the previous candle. I really want to see it break these lows. Get like some double confirmations. Hey, online football. Thank you for the sub. Every month on the 1st, the Chinese are buying huge amounts of gold. That's why it's always trending upward every 1st. Oh, really? I don't know about that. Well, what if on the 1st is the all-time highs? Are they still gonna buy it? Wouldn't it be smarter to wait for price to retrace first? Because all-time highs just can't keep going for the whole week. You know, we'd have price retrace first. But, you know, that's something I think you can get data on. You can look at the 1st of each daily candlestick and then do that due diligence. You know, because what I notice is sometimes we just repeat what other people say without actually doing the backtesting ourselves. So if you can backtest like a really long time and see how those first daily candlesticks closing, you know, that could be quite interesting. That could give you an edge into how your weeks are going to be starting. What's your bias on gold? My bias on gold is bearish, you know, because even the market environment is bearish. You know, overall fundamentals are bearish. Everything on gold right now is leaning more towards the downside. We're not getting any rate cuts. We got the tariffs, and price action has also just been predominantly moving down. So you can see for the most part, these sells have a better chance of breaking certain key levels that you might otherwise think that it could struggle, that it has a good chance to break those levels. So really just want to see London follow through here. Nice. Got about 20 seconds, 23 seconds candlesticks about to close. And we got the new hourly open. This is another thing. We got the hourly open, so we need to create some hourly highs before price was to continue to move down. At least some hourly highs here in a bit. So gotta see some volume come in here. Look at this. Hourly volumes coming in. Gonna get hourly volatility. Should be creating top wicks. See, stop just above that area. Okay. Look at the 30-minute. Ooh, massive 30-minute candlestick there. Got hourly SMA in my favor in Confluence. 4 hour here is bearish. Got 4 hour SMA there too. And gold has just been dumping though of late. Look at this. Look at these 4 hour candles. Just completely ripping down. Nice little 15-minute SMA. Okay, 30-minute looks good. It needs to catch up a bit more though. Yeah, so this is an hourly. This is an hourly. I would anticipate that this would be the hourly top wick being formed. So next time it starts to reflip, that should be the move or follow through down towards 33.33 at least. Can we sell gold now? Yes, you can do whatever you want to do. You can sell gold if you want. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a bad idea to sell gold. The only thing you gotta look at is what can you do if price goes against you, you know? What options do you have to reduce your risk? I think for me right now, it's just like, you know, a waiting game. I have to see how this hourly candlestick progresses now. But I would say if there's going to be a direction for London, I would more anticipate it to be moving down. Even you can see since the London open here, created a fake out. Price came down, created a support, created a small little resistance for that push continuation. Are you in this trade? Yes. Let's see, gold has been dumping on the end of every month for the last 7 months, and then Chinese buy it up on the first since 7 months straight already. Oh, nice. Oh, you've made good profits from that. Awesome. So we're heading towards the end of the month here. So maybe we're going to see gold dump again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more trading days. And the month ends on Thursday. And then we're going to get NFP, the non-farm payrolls, on Friday. Could you explain this sell one more time? Yeah, so initially what I was looking at here for the sell was, technically speaking, you see how we're accumulating here. So we have a bit of orders within this general region. So you have resistance and you have a support area over here, correct? So I'm looking at this as a accumulation to break below these levels, since we're already breaking the lows of the accumulation. So I'm anticipating that the orders are going to come through this area here to continue to fill up some clean range on the left hand side down towards the support zone, mainly due to like this overall area here. Like it has a potential to push down. You got left shoulder head, right shoulder volume that came in. We just really need to get through this level, because I see right now it's kind of struggling a little bit, but also because we just got the new hourly candlestick open up. And, you know, in line with that little break of structure over here, I'm looking at the overall daily trend. The way price has been basically overall moving. So we've been moving downwards. So I want to see how price is going to behave here now that I got in. Hopefully it's not going to do some crazy retracements, because I feel like it's already had its retracements. It broke here once. It pulled up. It's breaking the lows again. So now it's having a retracement. So it keeps like breaking these lows and pulling back upwards. That's the only thing that I'm looking at here, because I want it to move. I want it to move. You know, since we're not inside this no trade zone anymore, I was anticipating that price can finally move out of this zone and we can at least get some kind of distribution. You know, some kind of push towards the downside. But now it just seems like, you know, it's trying to come back into the zone. And yet what usually happens is, if it's coming back into the zone, then London is just going to consolidate again. So not going to have any trending moves. It's just going to hold this level until pre-New York session time. Yeah, then I think at that point, then there's no trade for me. There's no trade for me until 6 a.m. See the 1 minute. Nothing interesting there on the 1 minute. Got that hourly SMA over there. So you go about 1 hour 50 minutes for the 4 hour closure. Come on, Goldie, don't go back into the zone. Yeah, it's pretty hard to reduce the stop loss here, because it's not giving any structure. Come on, man. Come on, Goldie. Why consolidate here? Back in the gulag. Are we going back in the gulag? Man, look at these candles. No pullback on the 1 minute even. It might do a shotgun at the break of these highs if it breaks above this high over here. Might do a shotgun towards the up. There's a bit of clean range over there. That's why I'm gonna get out if it breaks this high. Right up here. Because then that would be another buy signal. As a potential buy signal over there. Come on, fake these buyers out. Fake these buyers out. It's doing a shotgun right now. Fake these buyers out. Because then the only thing I would say is it's a choppy move. If it starts to pull downwards, it's just a choppy move. Because every time we break the lows, we seem to be pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. I am zoom in face reaction. Yeah, just gotta lock in here. Because when it's close like that, you know, you don't know how price is gonna behave. It's tapping that 15-minute dynamic resistance. We also got a 30-minute SMA there too. You got the hourly. So just having some reactions off of those mocks there. So it's not surprising to survive something like this. If you're on the right side of the overall trend, price can still come down. It's different if it's different when you're counter trending. Usually when you're counter trending, surviving something like that, it's a little bit more riskier, you know, because then you're going against the overall weight. The overall weight is still to the downside. It's just the thing is, we don't know when the shock is going to come in the water, correct? We don't know when the shock is going to come in and give like a little bit of a whip. Because you could be right about the trade, but the timing can be off. You know, for example, like right here, like if you had some sellers come in here, how price did this little fake out first and then continue distributing down? You know, so this is like the shark that I'm talking about. So that's why I want it to really start pushing away from this zone. So it doesn't get any ideas to move like this and then to continue pushing down like that. But a little bit of drawdown here, you know, it's kind of expected because of the way I'm seeing that price has been pulling up. It's a little expected. I just needed to respect the key level of structure where I set my stop loss. Because, you know, when you put a stop loss on, you're basically saying that if for your trade to play out, then price doesn't have to break this area. Correct? So whatever it does before, like when you get in and where your stop is, it's like just the market movement. It can do anything, you know. It can play with your psychology. It can come up like this and then still end up moving down. But the thing is, like, you want to set your stop loss where you say 100%. This zone needs to be respected, you know, for my trade here to play out. Because sometimes you're gonna get these moves. You get in your entries and price just keeps moving. And then other times you get more drawdown. And then maybe price moves later on. But it's annoying that it came back into the gulag. We shouldn't have come back in here. This is the consolidation. We need to come back into the green zone, which is down over here. Because this is a bit of like a, man, if we come back in here, it's a bit of that, it's a bit of like, it's a very choppy area is what I mean. It's like, I don't want to trade in that zone. So I want to see price get out. For example, there's a shotgun entry here currently in play, but you can even see the shotgun entry is currently being put in drawdown, correct? It's because for me, this whole area is just, I think this moves are going to happen more for pre-New York. Any moves within like this zone. Because of the way the London session typically behaves. Usually if it's in a consolidation, when it's in a range, it's just going to hold that range until pre-NY open. So if we're expecting price to move, it has to move below support. It has to move below support over here. So remember, like, basically how there was a fake out that happened here. I'm anticipating that this is going to be the fake out now to get the next push towards the downside. So this is going to give that next push towards like 33, 32. But it depends, you know, it depends on how price comes down. Now I'm going to see how I can best manage my trade if I get that opportunity. Like if I see if there's a way, if I need to reduce my risk or what the case is going to be. But right now I'm just waiting. I think it shook out weak hands. You know, typically a trade like this, for me, this is not necessarily, technically speaking, an A+ setup. But what I'm really banking on is the fundamentals, you know. Is the FOMC this week. We have no change in interest rate. And we also have August 1st, we have the tariffs coming in. The tariffs are going to be coming in. So, you know, these things should be pushing gold down. The tariff agreement. It would be different if they didn't have an agreement. And if it was an agreement that was, you know, not a good agreement. Yeah, tariff agreement with the EU is a major point. Yeah, I think that was a fair agreement. So gold has been already sort of pricing that in with the bearish volume that we've been seeing. So yeah, it could have been just shaking out the weak hands, but you know, there's like a small little daily support area there we need to get through. There's a, you know, it's quite a choppy area. So if you're flying a plane, this is expected. We're flying into turbulence. So we're expecting a little bit of turbulence over here, you know. We got some daily support. Can expect some pullbacks. Daily candlestick is literally like a doji candle right now. Kind of like yeah, no direction. Negative 0.03%. But we are still creating overall lower highs, lower lows. Need to get through that little 8 SMA over here on the 5. Don't trust these 1-minute candles. Got about, was this 13 seconds? These 1-minute candles are acting a bit volatile. So right now what we have is we got buyers and sellers in the market. So it's like 50-50. The way price has progressed over here. We got buyers off that shotgun and we got some sellers off the swing. Swing continuation to the downside. Because the buyers on the shotgun are still active. Price on the 5-minute here. It didn't take out previous 5-minute lows. So they're still active. And I'm still active. And the worst thing is if the market takes these highs and then after taking the highs, it takes out the lows. Then both the buyers and the sellers will be getting screwed at that point. But if it just takes out the highs and keeps moving up, then at least we can see that the buyers made money over here. This is like a mid to higher time frame setup. Quite a lot of drawdown here. Just playing within this zone. A bit volatile, bro. It's a storm for me. And it's a Monday. I just want price to move from this area for a bit. At least because if it comes down here, you get a better chance of creating a much safer type of structure. But you can see what it's doing. It did like a break below the lows and then moved up, and it did a break above the highs and then kind of like moved down there for a bit. I like your spirit. Yeah, you just gotta be patient. Because all I know is, man, if price rebreaks 33.38, there's nothing. At that point, there's nothing. There's nothing until later on. This thing is just gonna range. Maybe you're only gonna get things off the lower time frames. But yeah, at that point, it's like you don't really have so much bias anymore. You know, at least for now, we still have bias. The London session has been consolidating all of July. Yep, that's why my trades here, I'm always just trying to see if I can get as much bias as possible that the London can at least start to move somewhere. All right, so 5 minutes creating like a little bit of a support there. See what the 1 minute's doing? A little long wick. Time is it? 5 minutes. 30-minute candle is about to close in 5 minutes. See, that's why I love my SMAs over here. So we can see that there's still that form of dynamic resistance. Maybe this 30-minute candle was to close bullish, and then the next one to continue moving down. But still no option for me to really reduce my risk. I don't think I have that option here. And why will distribute? It's a 100 pip range as well. Jeez. Holy. Freaky Monday. Freaky Monday. It is in a 1 hour accumulation range as well, and right now is at the top of the range. Freaky Monday. Yes, gold. Let's move away from that zone. That is not a good zone. We need to move now. I need to dump it. This in the last 5 minute bouncing off the open. Yeah, it's like, I would say it's like 50-50, you know, as it's playing here. The thing about the market is variables are always shifting, correct? So now it's like, I would say as it's up here, it's like 50-50, but overall, the sellers do have the edge. They do have the technical, the wider technical and fundamental edge. That's what they have for them. Because you could imagine this, right? Imagine that you took, instead of this sell, imagine that you took, let's say, a buy, expecting it to move upwards. And then that starts to give you drawdown. So you're going to look at this and you're going to see that if it played out, you know, awesome. That would be one of the first buys to play out, because this is kind of like the bottom, correct? But, you know, if you're looking at what price has previously been doing, I would be a bit more worried about the buy coming like all the way into drawdown. Like if the buy, let's say candles just kept coming all the way to down over here, for example. As opposed to if I'm in a sell, such as this. Because we just need that direction to kick in. That's it. So about 11 pip range here. It broke below that 8 SMA again. Roadblock around 33, 36. Oh, 33, 36, 34. Yes, we got a small little roadblock here. This is the zone that the roadblock is in. We need to get below this zone again. Anything above this zone is a little uncertain for me. But now, malicious market Monday. Yes, malicious market Monday. I was hoping like some kind of structure like what we just had form right now. That this would form, you know, somewhere at least somewhere around these ends. Because if that formed down over here, then I could reduce my risk by like 50%. You know, but in this scenario, it formed all the way up over here. So I can't really reduce my stop loss. You know, I'll just see it through at this point, to be honest with you. I'll just see the whole trade through. Because technically, you could reduce your stop here. But I wouldn't be saving enough. And if, let's say, a candle does this and then comes down, that would annoy me more. Because I'm not really saving that much over here. So I'd rather just see it through. For me, it will rise slowly. When the chart slows down like this, it's time to adjust from one side to the other. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that's usually what that's how I would adjust. That's exactly how I would adjust. But you know, like every setup is different. Some setups give me my adjustment really nicely. Some setups give me like adjustment a little bit later on. So, you know, at that point, you just got to make the best decision that you can make at that moment. Is, you know, to adjust, get taken out too early or just see it through at that point. Taking quite some time here. Let's see, 30 minutes just open. So this is a new 30-minute candle here. I'd like to see this just be creating the 30-minute highs before we create the lows. Still got some room to move down there. Still got about like what, 20 pips, 20.5 pips. See, this is that roadblock, 33, 36. Getting into the sell, it looked good. The way it's developing now, we just have to watch. Because if it comes back into the gulag, what that's going to look like, especially if it breaks these highs, that means that was like a little liquidity grab here to get back into the range. And then pre-New York, maybe attempts to, you know, there's some clean range though on the daily time frame. Then it can attempt to keep moving up on the daily. But that's all, you know, this is all like speculation. This is all speculation. So when you take your trade, that's the best move that you could have done at that moment. You know, so you mustn't look back in things in hindsight all the time and think that you could have done like something better. Because when you took the trade, man, that was looking really good to move down. You know, it's only how it developed later. Then you can say, okay, then if I'm coming back at a different time, at least now you have a bit more clarity. You know, you can see, all right, so, you know, I tried this sell here earlier on and this is how it played out and this is where we are right now. So I think then the direction is most likely going to be, you know, this or this. And then I think that's the best way to do it. But every time you take a trade, always remember that was the best outcome of your trade when you took it. You know, because unless you have a time machine, you can't go back in time. The only thing you can do is get into the next trade. Only thing you can do is get into the next trade. Menstrual Monday is what we are hoping for, eh? Breaking below that 8 SMA. You got out. Nice. You could have, if you got out there, you managed by 50%. How's July doing? Oh, July's pretty good. July has been a really awesome month. All I can say is only the thing that about July that I don't like has been the London sessions. But besides that, it's been an awesome month. Every month is slightly different, you know. This could happen to the New York session as well. It could start happening to the New York session next month too. Maybe New York session starts to range and then London starts to move. You know, it's always a shifting thing. Asia session's been amazing. Everybody been trading the Asia sessions, been having like a really nice Asia session because Asia has just been trending. So we've been seeing Asia trend, London consolidate, then New York have a move. Pre-New York session. So that's how it classified July, but it's been a pretty nice month so far. Can't complain. You hated July? I've had so many expenses this month and it's eaten into my profits. Yeah, July's been an expensive month. You know, when you want trading to work for you full time, you just have to categorize your monthly expenses. So, you know, you have to start seeing like, okay, you know, what's my gas bill looking like? What's my electricity bill looking like? You know, if paying a mortgage, what's the mortgage looking like? Most of the time, the most expensive bill that we pay is the rent. Correct, the rent. So for me, I spend anywhere between like, you know, 4,800 to 5,200 a month, right? So the way you're going to know how that trading can become full-time is you have to look at your account. So let's say if you have like $1,000 account, you know, when you're trading that $1,000 account, you're slowly trying to pay some of these bills, you know, whether it's like a phone bill or just a small bill, that's what you're trying to pay. And over time, before you know it, you're going to start paying a good majority, maybe like 80% of your bills. And, you know, at some point, you're going to start paying 100% of your bills just from trading. Correct? But this just takes time. But if you just start with the smaller bills now and keep working on that skill level, it happens like very quickly that trading starts to pay all the other bills. You know, once you start finding that consistency. Did you have a buy position before this trade? Yes. You had a buy. Only so buy. Pre-London was just buys. Oh, and the sell came in a bit later on. Sell was actually really good. This and the last 5-minute bouncing. Let's see. So we're coming pretty close here to break even again. Let's say, hey Vic, just curious how to indicate the break from console is not a fake out. I think what you can do is start monitoring those trades when you're taking your positions. Just don't get in when you think you're going to get in. Just wait for price to play out a bit more. And then see if it makes sense that you can get back into your trade. So for example, this is one example we gave right here. See how price is consolidating here? You got some support levels. So basically the break of that consolidation. Oh wait, no, that was the second support. This would be the break of the consolidation right over here on that bearish candlestick. So instead of you getting in at the break or the first initial break, just wait a bit longer. You see, like that's kind of the similar mentality here. You see how price created like a support. So usually when it re-breaks, it's proving to you that it wants to continue moving down. So that's one method that you can use to avoid fake outs. But you know, you can't always avoid a fake out, but you can avoid a good majority of them Would you get out of BE if it hits? Yeah, I think the next best thing to do for managing that trade would be to get out of break even, because technically speaking, you can't reduce your stop anymore beyond this structure, correct? So you know, you just have to look at your risk then. You have to look at your risks. Like, so for example, let's say if you're taking like a really big risk, you know, let's say if you're trying to pass a challenge or, you know, taking a really big risk, then this is not the type of trades that you would like to see. You would like to see trades just go straight into profit. So, you know, like right here, this is giving you an option to get out of break even. Because one thing I can say is my best trades, they never give me this much of a hard time. Correct? So if I really needed this trade to play out because I was taking big risk, I'd be like, okay, you know, I just get a break even here and then just wait for those trades that I take, which just go straight into profit. But, you know, since I'm already up for the month here and I am trading with the daily trend and I'm not really taking such a big risk, I'm just going to let it play out. I'm going to break even by 33. So, you know, like trading is always, it's like, that's why they say risk management is discretionary. Oh, this would be a good break even though, because I already give you such a hard time. But for me, I think, you know, at least with the daily trend and how I've been performing so far this month, it's okay. Hey, if you put your stop loss to break even now, at least, you know, at least you get that option that it keeps running too. All right, but now I'm putting my stop loss here to break even, chat. Now it's at break even. At least it gave a good push through that level too. So that could have been nicely managed. That could have been nicely managed over there. It didn't give like too much drawdown, so it could have been easy break even. Yeah, but stops to break even here, chat. Or I'm securing something. Let's freaking go. Nice. So that was a range. That was the range that I wanted to see get filled. Good trade. That was a tough one, but tested for patience. Yes. That trade did take time. It did take time, but you see, we're in the right. That's the thing. You got to look at the direction. Correct? So we're in the right direction for the market. Even with that drawdown, we're still in the right direction for the market. See, that's why the SL will always come first. Don't worry about the entries. You know, you can never get a perfect entry, but the stop loss is somewhere where it's a little bit more universal, the stop loss. So that's it. That's 100% of the range which was filled up. I must admit, the trade did give me a much harder time than I anticipated. I thought the new hourly candle would just create like small top wick and then continue moving down. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Anyway, that's all that I could have caught here for London Open. So that's it. Very nice. At this point, we don't know what price is going to do because it just tapped into 33, 32 area over here. Patience Monday. Testing patience Monday. That's what I'll call it. I would have held longer too if there was like some range over there for me. I would have held longer, but the range or the road just ends over here. See, that's why we're also having that reaction. This is a Ricardo sniper entry. See our price is coming down. 1, 2, 3. Straight knotted. Then Ricardo, take a buy over there. It can now go up if it wants to. I have taken my profit. Yeah, I think if you want to leave a runner, obviously you're gonna put your stop loss to break even here at this point. You're not gonna hold this drawdown anymore. You're not gonna hold this drawdown. Because now it's picking a direction. It's moving a little bit more. That Trump and Powell video had me in stitches. Oh, what video? Is it the one where Trump was accusing Powell of the amount of money that was being spent on the Fed buildings? Man, Trump is such a sneaky guy. He was like, can you see this? This is an additional, what did he say, 2.2 billion that the Fed spent. Then Powell is looking so confused. He's like shaking his head. Then he asks Trump like what that thing is reading. And he looks at that thing. And literally Trump is calculating the renovations of a building that was built like what did he say, like 5 years ago? And it's like, yeah, we're taking the whole thing. It's like, man, Trump is that guy. Trump is that guy, if you stand next to him and let's say you're a shy guy and you're not good at confronting people, that he can make you look bad. You know, that because you feel like you're not going to say anything and then he's just going to talk and he's going to make you look bad. But Powell is like, let me see this. And then he exposed him right there on the spot. Said, this is for another building 5 years ago. And then Trump is like, yeah, we're just calculating the whole thing. I think there's something in there. It's like, you can't do that, man. Like, what do you mean you're calculating the whole thing? Because his whole idea to get Powell out was that they went over the budget. You know, but you can't start including things that were not in the budget. Yeah, but anyway, you know, price, if it runs, it runs. Gets through these levels over here. Breaks below a support regions. These support regions here, and then maybe you can push through that zone. Continue coming down. Yeah, it was a setup. Yeah, a setup's a setup. Not the cleanest setup, but that's what the market gave me here today. So I think, let me see on the 1 minute. No, we didn't even have a consolidation breakout on the 1 minute. This had to be a swing entry model. I couldn't have 1 minute played this. Oh, you made 5%? Nice. Scary drawdown. I'm not proud of it. I'm gonna take it down to 2% next time. Yeah, I think 2% is pretty nice. Like if you're trying to do a high risk, then 3% maximum. We do say 1 to 5%, but 5% is only if you're really confident about the way that you're trading, correct? But I think a sweet spot for a high risk is like 3%. Usually 5%, man, 5%, 2 losses, 10% risk. You know, 10% for 2 losses sounds a lot more than 6%. You know, 6% seems like a little bit easier on the mental, but 10% is quite a bit. The good thing is we don't have any fundamentals here today too. So Monday is in the clear. Let's take this range from here to here. Yeah, we got Tuesday. Jolt's opening tomorrow. Monday is looking pretty sweet. ADP here on Wednesday. Oh, so you got FOMC statement. Oh, that's on Wednesday. Mid of the week volume FOMC statement. Then Thursday, core PC, price index, unemployment claims. I got the non-farm payroll. Hi bro, how did you find OB? Please advise. No idea. I don't use OB. I don't know about OB. Right after he said this interview where he said that Powell will cut rates and oh exactly, yes, and continue as Fed boss, and the whole story about buildings isn't worth it. It is true. He said something that Powell he's saying that, you know, our economy is doing so great, and that he's going to cut the rates. Man, Trump is like Trump. You know, when Trump speaks, he does it in a very specific way. He never says anything bad about the U.S. economy, which, you know, also makes sense. But it's also like it's also quite misleading. It's very misleading, you know. But that's why traders love Trump, because he says these things which sometimes are such random things, but they move the markets, you know. Man, at least London had some form of distribution. See, now it's just having a reaction off of a 33.32. $33.36 roadblock. Trump talking to see if he has power over the Fed, as it's not Rothschild owned. Hey, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Rothschild. The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. They got so many animals named after them. The Rothschilds. And plant species. Hey Vic, why is Trump so in a hurry to cut rates? Doesn't this discourage investors? How it's going to benefit? That's the question, you know. That is the question. Obviously, Trump is on... he's not going to tell the public everything. But you know what's good? Trump likes to look good in front of the public. That's why he says things like, you know, America is doing so great. We have the greatest army in the world. Our economy is amazing, and etc., etc. So what's happening is when he cuts the rates, he's going to make it easier, or it's going to be more affordable. You see, basically the market doesn't like rate cuts, but people like rate cuts. It makes things more affordable for people, correct? So that's also going to in turn make Trump look good. But obviously there's something else behind the works that obviously we don't know, because he doesn't speak about it live. And why would he? But what I'm assuming it's for businesses. He's cutting rates to get more investors interested in the US. Just the same way like Japan, they cut their rates and they have more like foreigners coming into the country, because like Japan is actually, you know, you wonder why people travel to Japan a lot, because it's like really affordable and it's an amazing place, you know. It's really affordable because they always mainly cut rates on the yen. Usually they never really hike up their rates. Actually, it's bad for the Japanese economy to hike rates, correct? So I think what Trump is doing is taking from a different angle. Now what Powell is doing, he's taking from the markets angle. Obviously from the markets angle, it's not going to be a good thing to cut rates, because if you look at the DXY here, the dollar index is already on its way down. So yeah, of course that's going to weaken the dollar even more. See this? Look at the way DXY here is distributing towards the downside. So you got like a monthly consolidation here, breaking below support, clean range. So essentially rate cuts are bringing this thing down towards like, I think 92. This 92 level over here. And also depends on the kind of rate cut it is. If it's like a 25 basis point cut or like a 50 basis point cut. But that's what I'll be expecting. Price to come down here. So the market's going to be sad, but people are going to be happy. Trump is going to be happy. Americans are going to be happy. And then maybe some investors are going to come into the US. So it's just like a short-term thing. That's why he says like Powell should have cut the rates a long time ago. You know, but market's been consolidating for a very long time here. This is consolidating since 2022. Or let's just say January 2023. January 2023, markets haven't done anything. So you see, like, Trump is frustrated. He's frustrated with Powell because, you know, he says, you know, he's got an easy job, Powell. He's got a very easy job. All he's got to do is cut rates. And Powell has just been holding the market. You see what Powell's been doing? So I think Trump finds this frustrating. You know, Trump is a man of volume. He's a man of volatility. So, you know, when markets moving like this, the same way we get frustrated, he might be seeing from a different perspective, like more in a business-oriented perspective as well. So, you know, there's always like, you got to think of the politics that you're watching on TV and the politics that you're not watching. US debt is to be renewed this year, I think I heard. That is why he wants to weaken the dollar. Oh, price came up now. Break even. That's why Trump is so rich. Yeah, you know, Trump is not a dumbass. Like, sure, maybe he's not politically correct and can't vocabulary, he can't speak properly, like politically correct and sound smart and all that stuff. But he definitely is not a dumbass. He knows a thing or two about business, you know, whether you like him or not. So yeah, we're gonna see. It could be a good thing for the US economy in the long term. But conflict of interest, you know, this conflict of interest with what Powell is seeing. Powell, I think what Powell would rather have to keep that consolidation and say, hey, at least we're stable. You know, at least things are stable. And then hopefully, like, price can start moving up with all these jobs data that he keeps waiting for. Maybe he's hoping that we can just hold and price just continues to move upwards like this. But, you know, at some point, sometimes even holding like this can be more detrimental to the economy. It creates like stagnation in the economy. So it's better at least something happens. So even if it has to be a fake out. So that's usually what it is also with fake outs. Usually with fake out, you get stagnation. And then it's not good. The market acts a bit random. It creates a fake out. And then after the fake out, it feels like it can move again. But the thing that the markets, I think, hate is usually if you're consolidating for too long. A stable economy is a predictable economy, makes it easier to plan for the future. Yeah, I mean, it's playing the long game as well. So trading and like giving, it's a system where the patient, they get paid from the impatient. So we don't know what's going to happen. You know, what if the dollar gets rate cuts and then price comes down too early, and then there's some unforeseen sort of event that can even drive the dollar further downwards. Correct? This becomes like a very risky national security problem. You know, because if the dollar weakens quite a lot, imagine we get these rate cuts in, and on top of that, you get COVID. You know, COVID and everything gets shut down, and, you know, then currencies would even go even further down. It would dip even further down. And COVID, you know, like if you think about the way COVID was made, it was made in a human factory. That could have also had some implications, you know, some military implications, COVID, because it was not like a random event. You know, the same way as China has been blamed for the fentanyl crisis in America. You know, because they say a lot of those ingredients, they're coming in from China. And if those packages weigh less than, what is it, like 1 kilo? Or there's a certain limit that they don't get checked. So these packages that come from China, they don't get checked because they're quite light. They don't pay a lot of tax on them as well. So there's a lot of like the speculation China is driving this fentanyl crisis in the US. You know, there's a lot of things like this national security that happens behind the curtains of what the people see, who think the whole world economy are just like friends and trying to be diplomatic with each other. So there's a lot of things to consider, I guess, when you make such moves like this, because your enemies are always waiting for you to become weak. And once they see your weakness, they're going to strike even more. But for us, it's just to, you know, for us, we don't like to speculate. That's a lot of speculation. When we see the markets move, we're just going to act accordingly. But yeah, that fentanyl thing is crazy. It's one of the reasons why Trump now, they remove that thing. So China, any export from China now, they have to pay a minimum of $800 to get goods into the country. Obviously, China disagrees with this as well. But of course they would. Man, fentanyl is crazy, you know, like such a small thing like this is like 100 times stronger than heroin. And I think it's already caused like around 500 million deaths in the US. Imagine this, 500 million deaths from some year. I think it's been like a decade, within a decade. Still a lot of deaths. So it's like the Cold War. Remember, the Cold War was not like a full-on blown war. It just happened behind the curtains. And I think like the way our economy is going, it's getting so sophisticated now that these Cold Wars happening on all fronts. You know, we had those drones in the US just like a few months back that nobody knew why there were drones flying in US skies, which is also insane. So I think that there's a lot of stuff happening, and I think like the market here is soon going to explode, especially once we start to get these rate cuts in. I'm pretty sure volume is going to really kick in, and we're going to see 2,500 here on gold. Eventually 3,500 there on gold is going to be hit. But there's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of anticipation here. Because the overall gold market is it's quite uncertain, you know. We're still back in the gulag. If you notice from the daily time frame, notice how it broke above here and it's coming back into this gulag zone. So you see, we're still waiting. We're still waiting for Mr. Powell, Uncle Pow, and Donald Trump. Drugs are one hell of drug. Hey, it's one hell of a drug. Cocaine is one hell of a drug. I think that's what the saying was. There's also that war between Thailand and Cambodia. Bro, after we went in trades, we go into conspiracy theories and we spill the tea. Kind of funny. I saw at Yahoo Finance that experts think that rates are staying the same. Yes, they are going to stay the same for this month. But you know, as we're heading over to October and September, then, you know, the rates are going to get their rate cuts. We're going to see at least one this year. Yeah, I'm really into that almost conspiracy stuff, man. That's why I love Joe Rogan. And that's why Joe Rogan has the best podcast on YouTube. Because, you know, it's like, it's such a nice place for very complicated things to be explained to dummies, you know? Like you can, because things like this, no one is ever going to tell you things like this. It's just the same way. Why the rich rich? You know, why are there more rich people? I mean, why are there only such a select group of rich people? And not everybody's rich. Is because there's always these underlying things which are not being taught to you, and they're not being taught in schools either, unfortunately. You know, you have to figure some things out in life on your own, especially if you're trying to get to the next level. It's good to be cynical. It's very nice to be cynical about certain things. You know, if you're cynical by nature, that means also in the marketplace you won't be manipulated as much if you're very cynical. So you gotta take your trades, and you know, when you have drawdown like this, you can start making a conspiracy theory and say, oh, this is just trying to squeeze out the weak hands. You know, you try and make some sense in an environment which sometimes can look like it's not making any sense. Because, you know, sometimes that's how you make sense of it. You know, it makes sense. Need to learn to squeeze more profit. Yeah, we gotta squeeze more profit here. But you see, with the market, it's like, that's all that it could have given you. Here, just a small little 22 pip move, you see? It moved from here to here, and then look at this. So does it make sense to hold it longer just because you feel that price can keep moving down? You know, you'd rather just secure something, or at least manage your risk here at break even. You see, we push down and then we pull all the way back upwards. So I wish this range, if this range was a little bit wider, I would have loved to hold my trade like maybe a little bit further down, because we are trading with the trend. Trump comes from money, don't forget that. Yeah, but you still gotta be smart to build something, you know? Like also Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, you know, these guys that also came from some kind of money. But it's definitely not easy, even if you come from money. You know, and Trump is a guy who took a lot of debt. He took a lot of L's, that guy. I think people think because you come from money, it's easy, but it's easy to get started, but to maintain it is the most difficult part. Because your business is either making money or losing money at the end of the day. Business can borrow more and expand the economy. I took a trade pre-London that gave me 20% profit, so closing this trade at 0.7% is no problem for me. How do you go from 20% to 0.7%? When I make a large percentage gain in my first trade of the day, I reduce my loss significantly. Man, I think at that point, it doesn't make sense to even take the next trade. You know, if you're going from 20 to 0.7, I would maybe think you're going to reduce by like 50%. Because if you're up for 20%, you can still play with the house's money at that point. DAX is playing with my heart. It keeps looking like it's going to go up and hit all-time high, then dropping. Luckily, I'm not executing. I got my win this morning. Now letting Monday do its thing. Yes. Yeah, just let Monday do its thing now. Yeah, bro, I made a buy at 33.38. Oh, you gotta send in a chart. Do you think market is gonna push up and hit that TP, or should I close my position? I think you gotta send like a label chart into the Discord so we can see your trade. Hey, Ayub, thank you for the sub, Duma. I used to have a friend called Duma in uni. Duma. Hey Vic, can you please analyze crude oil? Let's see, let's look at oil. Where is oil sitting? So if you look at the quarterly, yeah, we got oil sitting here at 65 bucks. 65 bucks. Man, oil, imagine we get a dip on oil again. Oil to come down to like $22. Yeah, beautiful clean range on oil. Right? Crude oil. Let's see a monthly. Yeah, monthly, we kind of have this monthly support. You know, the thing with oil, it's like, it's really good at holding these levels. There's like a certain demand zone here that oil just respects. Oil just respects this zone. I would say oil overall doesn't want to move down bearish. But if you're looking at intraday trading, then you start from the daily time frame. If you start from the daily time frame, then you can see that oil here is massively ranging. You have a support area down here. You got resistance above here. This looks like garbage. This basically looks like GJ. This is what GJ is doing. It's just ranging sideways. And you have such a nice opportunity if price keeps moving up here. Like, you know, 7,000 pips to 7,220 pips. So what I would say on oil is what you're looking for on oil to give you some bias is obviously some candlesticks to close above. This is $67 a barrel. Because then the market becomes more predictable on the LTF as well. So, for example, just the same way with gold, you see how gold on the daily has come down. But if we start to move upwards, then for the rest of the week, it can look a little bit more predictable like this, that it can fill some of this range on the left-hand side. So I think once you get something like that happen on oil, candlestick break above, this should look pretty good. But in terms of like trading even on the intraday time frames and whatnot, I would say the oil market really is not the greatest right now to be trading. Let me see. Let's see the 4 hour, just in case. Got 4 hour support, got 4 hour resistance, got this range. It's bouncing off 4 hour support. It should be targeting 4 hour resistance over there. So got the hourly. Hourly has some nice decent range. So, you know, now we're just trying to tell the story a bit more of where price may be potentially heading for the day. So I see we got like this higher time frame range. We're bouncing off the lows. And we have clean range here on the left hand side on the hourly. So I think some buys would actually make a lot more sense. It seems more free to move upwards over here than it is to move downwards. You got like levels of support down over there to consider. Yeah, but let's see on the 5 minute. Let's see what the previous days were doing. Previous day. Dude, not trending. Oil is consolidating for sure. It's moving sideways. So I would anticipate this thing has a good chance to move up. Because if you look at the previous day, it just reacted off the higher time frame resistance and then it came back down. This doesn't mean that the market is trending. If you look at the wider context of where price is sitting at, it's different. Correct? And also with oil, you got to keep up with OPEC. You know, if you keep up with OPEC, then you're going to know a little bit better what's moving markets. Whereas you can see with gold, here, it's more directional. It's a bit more biased towards the downside. So we can see where the overall volume is heading. And then we're also locked into the fundamentals to give us a probability of a certain move happening. So actually, if you think about it, the shotgun buyers over here got liquidated. So they got their buy. Which is amazing that the market didn't take both the buyers and sellers out. Because it took out the buyers over here and then it liquidated them. Let's see, taking them out down here. And then now it's going to skyrocket in their direction. Just watch. After it's liquidated them. But it could have taken us out too. If I was the market, I would have taken this area out. That way I know sellers have been taken out. Buyers have been triggered in. And then do something like this. Maybe people get into FOMO sell and then back up here. But it looks like there wasn't a shock in the water today. Gonna watch Dexter Resurrection episode 4 now. Oh, nice. Enjoy, Mr. Walker. Apparently, they're doing a new Fast and Furious. The final Fast and Furious. Vin Diesel announced it at some concert. Which should be pretty sick. And they're thinking about bringing in Paul... What was that guy's name? Paul Walker? Yeah, I think his name is Paul Walker. Yeah, they're planning on bringing Paul Walker in the final Fast and Furious. And they're bringing it back to the streets. So it's not going to be this CGI garbage of cars flying in and out of the Burj Khalifa. So it's going to be like a realistic Fast and Furious. Which is going to be awesome. Brian O'Connor. Yeah, that's his name in the movie. Hey guys, thanks for the likes. Appreciate the likes, guys. Let's go. Yeah, Brian O'Connor. Man, that's gonna be sick. It's gonna be kind of weird though. But I want to see what technology can do. Man, you know, this is also my GPU. I'm coming from AMD. So with this new NVIDIA card, holy man. Now I get why NVIDIA stock was moving up so much. I didn't know they made these leaps in technology. You know, it's insane. It's insane what these cards can do nowadays. It's like they've just like changing a lot, especially with the gaming scene, you know. Like you can have a card that on paper, maybe you might see that it's not powerful, but due to like NVIDIA's upscaling, you can basically play games at 4K with not such a powerful card and decent frame rates. You know, this is something that AMD doesn't do. Their technology is like really old. compared to what we're seeing with Nvidia. Man, it is actually amazing. Hey Vita, thank you for the sub. Now I get why it's moving up, man, because yeah, I think it's freaking awesome. Like, if they can do this now, I don't know what they're gonna be able to do in the near future. Look at this thing. Again, video over here. It's just skyrocketing up. This started in, I guess the push here started what, December? January 2024. Damn. I think gamers, man, if I was a hardcore gamer, this is something that I could have picked up on. I would say, oh shit, look at this. We got some new upscaling technology here. Like, oh, this looks pretty good, because that means they're doing, they're advancing quite a fast. And look at the way prices skyrocketed here. This is January 2024. Sheesh. This was a Black Swan event. You know, there's always going to be Black Swan events in the market. So Nvidia was a Black Swan event that started in January 2024. I thought I thought Trump Media and Technology would be a Black Swan event. You know, but that just looks like it was a rug pull. Just the same way with the Millennia coin and the Trump coin. I think, man, everything Trump does, it looks like just rug pull in the market. When he talks about something to do with markets, it always is some kind of rug pull when you look at the charts. So we got Trump Media over here doing really poorly at $18. Tesla's hovering around $315. Silver apparently has been doing quite well. Silver has been moving up here on the month. Yeah, silver is still pushing up here. What else? German 40. People who trade the German 40. German 40 has also been moving up. But it's stuck in a consolidation now. Those sideways movement. Hey Sandile, good morning, good morning. They use Paul's brother before to act, then CGI doesn't have as much work to do. Let's see. He's got two brothers. Cody Walker and Caleb Walker. Yeah, I'll go with Cody. Cody looks more like Paul Walker. And then they're gonna put his face on his face. Yeah, I could see that. Also, the body kind of looks... I reckon the height is more or less the same too. Yeah, I'm probably gonna use him, huh? Hey, what's up, Troy? Good morning, good morning. Alright, let's go on Discord here. Yeah, I'm gonna try to upload you guys a nice little lecture later on. Tull Trader. Long on cable retreat and no clear break of 33.35. Sydney Sweeney can make men want to pump soap, buy soap, and shitty jeans. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney over here, man. We got Jeff Bezos just invest $1 billion into her lingerie. Damn, I can't say that word. Lingerie line. $1 billion by Jeff Bezos, man. What is Mr. Bezos trying to do here? But you know, I think the industry, I think it's lingerie and cosmetics, but I think that industry is worth like, as a whole, maybe like, you know, 50, 70 billion dollars. So it could also just be a good play on Bezos' part, because there is a lot of money in this industry. But it's a bit suspect, you know, an old guy like Bezos investing in Sydney Sweeney kind of looks a bit funny, to be honest. But hey, you know, what's $1 billion to Jeff Bezos anyway? Yeah, she was great in Euphoria. OMG, I am so mad at you. Just cut the fucking rates to 1%, Jerome. Exactly, man. This was the best freaking video to show you the relationship between Trump and Powell. It's too funny. Oh my god. Poor Powell. I think he definitely needs to retire. Can't deal with Trump. Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Hey, but that stock, whatever it is she does, if we look at the stock, it's probably skyrocketing up. If it's even available to trade. You know, these are these PPIs. When these PPIs come out, then you know you're gonna have like some really nice pumps initially. The intelligent investor. Yeah, imagine this. Intelligent investor. You have a whole boring ass book like this, you know, talking about investing, and then you get people making such moves and making so much money from them. You know, such amazing I guess it takes money to make money, to be honest. You know, she's quite popular, so she's gonna drive a lot of sales. And with Bezos' money, like, it's a recipe for success. So you're not gonna question it. You're gonna jump on it, right? That's what a lot of traders do. If Trump says something, Trump can talk about the most random company, but because of his influence, that company is gonna initially do very well. Mr. Bezos is trying to reach that pumpkin. Very suspect. But you see, now the buyers get their move. Look at this. After the buyers get taken out, now we're back in the gulag. Now we're back in the gulag. So what's going to happen next is price is going to hold this until at least in the next 30 minutes. From the next 30 minutes, I'd be expecting some kind of moves. But to be honest, man, this is Monday's candlestick here. I would not be surprised to see it range between these two key levels. So unless we can break above 33.45, I think this Monday we might get a doji candlestick on the daily. Vic, do you watch CoffeeZilla? Yes, I've watched a little bit of CoffeeZilla. I don't follow him like religiously, but he does pretty good exposing people. CoffeeZilla did an expose on Uncle Ted. If y'all know who Uncle Ted is. Uncle Ted, when I hear Uncle Ted speak, he sounds like ICT. They have the same kind of like pace of speaking. Ready for some Bomber Club pips this week? Yes, sir. I'm going to be trading quite a bit more of that pre-London time as well this week. I think last week I needed a small break from pre-London. But there were so many nice trades during pre-London. Missed out on. Have you seen the recent video insider trading involving Trump's wife? No, but I'm sure she did. I mean, the moment that Millennia coin dropped, I'm sure she bought a nice bunch of I don't know what she even does in her life. She wrote a book. I know that much. It kind of surprised me she wrote a book. But yeah, she wrote a book. Millennia Coin was just a pump and dump scheme. But for sure, insider trading is going on. Anything with Trump is all insider trading. His friends, Trump's friends and those people in government made so much money so far. You know, Trump has made a lot of traders good money too so far. When the stock market dipped, Warren Buffett is so smart. He looked at Trump and is like, no, this guy's going to dip the stock market. Then he got out, exited. So you see, it's like, it's again, markets are back to reading people. So you just have to get good at reading people. If you're good at reading people, you get like a very nice edge of what could be happening next. That's why people follow like Elon Musk, Trump, and these other people on Twitter religiously, because you can get a sense of their next moves. You know, like remember when Tesla was doing really well, but Elon was a bit more of a rebellious guy. So people were waiting on Elon's tweets so they could be shorting Tesla, because Elon was kind of like not listening to what the board was saying, and you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, it's a whole different type of trading, to be honest, chat. Like what we do here is day trading. What we do is listen, read candlesticks, a lot of like technical analysis and a bit of macro fundamentals. What these guys do, it's a whole different commitment. You know, to be committed like that, it also takes a lot of patience and preparation. You don't have time for this noise. This is a lot of noise. You know, you can't do this and do that at the same time. It can be sometimes quite difficult. Trump and Melania paid someone to write a book. Maybe it was ChatGPT. Last night I was thinking, what if I asked ChatGPT to write me a book? If I write the greatest book like Harry Potter for this niche, I wonder like if it can actually pull off something like that. You know, step by step. Then I can also write a book. I also want to write a book one day. It definitely can. I've been working on some serious projects with ChatGPT. Yeah, you just gotta ask it the right thing. If you know a little bit about book writing, I'm sure that these technical aspects to do with writing books, that you just have to remind ChatGPT to follow a certain structure, and then it can do it like that as well. But yes, ChatGPT is really nice. Gulag or hell. Let's see. Retest then continuation towards downside. I've closed 1.6% today. Is that above average or decent? I think that's amazing, man. Congratulations. That is above average for sure. That is way above average for people who actually care about managing their risk. You know, because the industry standard is for day traders, maybe 1 to 2% per trade. People with really big accounts, they're going to do like 0.5% per trade. So if you did 1.6, you know, you can see that's already well above the higher range of 1 to 2%. The reason say 1 to 2% is because psychology, human psychology, we don't do so well anything above like 3%. It feels a lot. It starts to feel a lot. If you got a good head on your shoulders, that's if you're not a complete degenerate, you're going to feel that 3 to 5% is quite a lot, because that can add up looking at a losing streak. That's 3, 6, that's already 9. 3 losses in a row, that's 9%. Risking 3% per trade. Yeah, for me, a worst day is a really bad day for me can be anywhere between 2.5 to like 3%. And that's over trading. That's taking like 3 trades and losing back to back and having some slippages and just really unfavorable conditions. Maybe I can lose 2.5, 3% worst case scenario. Where is Gulag? Gulag is back in here. It's back in here, sir. You see, like for right now, if you look at price, there's no entry. The only thing it's done is this little V-shaped reversal over here. Kind of pissing off the buyers. Man, now look at this volatility coming in. Getting some selling pressure coming in. So it took out the... I think what it's trying to do is for the greedy sellers, it basically took out the buyers here. And for the greedy sellers, it just probably took them out too. Yeah, it's definitely harder trading the higher time frames because of these reasons. That's why when you take a trade based off a higher time frame, you really want the market to be trending. You don't want it to be moving down or moving bullish. Because you see, you get caught in this like, what I think is, I like call like an equilibrium of sorts. Where the universe, it just balances everybody. You know, it makes everybody equal in a situation like this. Equal in a losing kind of way. But man, when price is moving up or if it's moving down, there's no balance there, you know. Somebody's making money. If you look at something like this, sellers are making so much money here whilst the buyers are providing that liquidity for price to move down. Trump is like Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs. What's Mr. Krabs' backstory again? Guy loves money too much. You know, like they all have backstories. Like Squidward. Squidward's he's a bit of like a... He's a bit of a loner. You know, he wants to be this rich guy, this successful person. If you look at the SpongeBob cartoon, Squidward actually has a brother who is like super successful. He plays that flute really nicely. And Squidward's always trying to, you know, get better than his brother. His brother's like really successful. Squid is a bit of a loner. He's kind of jealous of a SpongeBob and Patrick as well, of how carefree they are. What was Mr. Krabs' story? I can't remember Krabs' story. But it was actually quite interesting. Like, if you look at these cartoons, they're made for 2 audiences, you know? They're made for children and they're made for adults. So the way you watch cartoon when you're small is different when you watch it when you're older. You know? Use reset code Pokemon50. Do you want to get hidden, sir? I will hide you from this stream. He was a sailor who opened up a restaurant with plankton and the restaurant sucked. And when they fought over the recipe. Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is that recipe. It's something that recipe. Yeah, you're right. That recipe, Mr. Krabs actually, contrary to what you watch, he loves SpongeBob. You know, he loves SpongeBob's like ability to execute that a Krabby Patty. Because he knows deep down inside, without SpongeBob, then, you know, the restaurant's not going to succeed. Plankton knocked up the recipe where some got thrown into a pot and the Krabby Patty was created, and so Mr. Krabs made his new restaurant. Yeah, I can't believe we're talking about SpongeBob here. Yeah, I think you see how price is coming down. It's creating some really nice range. Right here. This is a beautiful range. You got a, let's see, about 40 pips. 40 pips below 33.37. Sorry, mopped up most of this area here. I think that's 65% of that range. Yeah, I just got 65. Look at that. Right to the T. 65% of the range here got filled. And then price rejected. Very tough. I would say today, if you made money during the London session, very tough session. Very tough session. You got the Bomber Cloud too? Nice. Does the stream keep you disciplined in trading, or do you think you would make more without streaming and locking in? No, I think it definitely does help me with patience. It definitely does help me stay more patient. Yeah, I think the streams help. Check GJ. Oh, why is GJ is moving so much here? Why are you running?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
As you see, since the London Open, GJ is kind of directional. Could it be going for the top of the range here on the daily? That's what I would anticipate from GJ. Because we're at the bottom of the range. So GJ moving up, you know, also makes a lot of sense. Rejected the bottom of the range to come retest like around 199, 600 area. Little choppiness. But you see, this choppiness here doesn't look good. If you're trying to trade the intraday time frame, let's say if anything from the 5 minute, you gotta deal with this low volume. It is very low volume here. Look at the way it's wicking up and down. So how can you catch a move, a proper move like this? You know, I think there's a lot of fake outs. Even if you look from accumulation breakouts, you're not getting as much follow throughs as you need to see. So yeah, GJ definitely needs to start moving. We need to see like maybe some candlesticks retrace, something like this, and then create some opportunities. Or maybe some buy continuations. The daily is up 0.37%, so it is starting to trend quite a bit. This is a gold 1 minute time frame. Short-lived accumulation breakout. Oh, but we got one here too. Very small one. Break of these highs. Stops maybe below here about 16.4. Got one there, and you got one here. Nice little 17, 18 pip push. I usually secure my profit at like, you know, 16 pips. 16 pips usually. I think today's trade did like 16 pips and then it retraced and then it came back down and then it skyrocketed up again. Beautiful. I'm tired of winning alone. Yeah, trading is a lonely game for sure. It is a lonely sport. You know, that's why they say as much as you can do community trading, there's never really a we in trading, correct? Because, I mean, it's your account, it's your money, it's you're pushing the buy or sell button. So at the end of the day, you are taking the risk. So, you know, if you got this sell, man, congratulations. That was you who got the sell. Vic, I got an idea for a YouTube video. You always do the live stream. Why not let one of your students or ex-students host. It makes things kind of interesting. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I did tell people, like, you know, if they want to host, they can host for a bit. You know, we can have guests over. We used to have guests in the beginning though, but I think I don't know. We just have to see if that's something that can naturally happen. Because, you know, you put people on the spot and sometimes they can get like a bit unconfident. Like, I used to be very unconfident. I used to speak in streams too, you know, but I used to be super unconfident. So I don't want to force anybody. Patience plus 175 BPM. Yeah, man, I can't remember the last time I was speaking on a stream. Because, you know, you're always afraid that you're going to say something wrong and that you're going to be judged for it when you first start out. And then, man, some streams are brutal. Some streams are going to answer your question and then they're going to make you feel bad. You know? But it's all tough love at the end of the day. Just like how on this channel, don't take anything personal. You know, don't be a snowflake. It's not good to be a snowflake. I still remember the first time my mentor told me I would never be successful trading the 5 minutes because I was too focused on the 5 minutes, you know? Like, I wanted to learn how to impulse entry a lot. And normally when you hear people talk about the 1 minute time frame, you know that's also coming with a lot of stress. You know, so if you start something, if you start a new skill, you can't start from up here. You gotta work your way up to that speed, correct? So if you're trading, if you're kind of new to trading and you're already looking at the 1 minute, 5 minute time frames, you're already starting at a high speed. So let's say you're downhill, you're doing downhill racing, right? You're gonna build more confidence, gradually picking up speed and getting more comfortable with the steeper hills. So what happens when you get on the 1 minute time frame? 5 minute, that's like the mega ramp. You know, if you ever watch X Games, that's literally the mega ramp here. So you're gonna be like a Tony Hawk. You're gonna come down like this, woo, and then, you know, how are you gonna land that thing? Because once you're in the air, you're just gonna bail. Provided you can even get to this point. Man, if you don't know how to go on the mega ramp, you might not even make it to the end. You're just gonna crash right here. Imagine Warren Buffett on VIX, Wicks, and dips, no whips, straight pips. Ooh, that would be nice. Do you have a favorite book? I mean, to be honest, not really. I think whenever I was reading a lot of these trading books, I was just doing it to find a sort of like a golden ticket. You know, I was trying to see if there's something I can really learn that will instantly make me a good trader, but that never happened. And what instead happened was I pretty much went through all the trading books, all the audibles. I never read, I just went through audibles. So every time I was at work or like doing something, I would just be listening to Audible. I would be, you know, falling asleep and listening to Audible, listening to all these books. But in the end, what I realized is like, man, there's no better teacher than the markets. Reading these candlesticks. But I think Rich Dad Poor Dad was a really nice one though. That one really started breaking for me some certain mental barriers. You know, that's when I started understanding that once you hit your 20s, you really have to unlearn a ton of shit and start actually looking at ways to become successful based off of your own thinking, you know. So, you know, the rich dad always taught the kid how to think about money, you know, and the poor dad always set kind of like a limit on what the kid can achieve. You know, if you're always taught that you can't achieve anything, that you will never achieve anything. But if you're taught you can achieve things, you're always going to be a high achiever. So it's all in the mind. You gotta be like, you gotta get a healthy dosage of delusion as well. It can really push you, but also understanding so it's not becoming too toxic. Mr. Goggins would be shouting no SL, we don't stop till we win. And if you're in drawdown and more lots to the trade, go hard. Yeah, go hard, go home. David Goggins would be definitely martingale strategy type of guy. Just keep adding on weight. But you see this? This is starting to form like an inverted head and shoulders. So this could actually start skyrocketing upwards. But that's if we respect this wick here by 33.35. If we break that wick, then we have plenty of room to move down. Got about like 25.4 pips below there. But it's garbage. To be honest with you, chat, like the PA right now is actually quite garbage on gold. I'm gonna get these small little wins here. You're gonna get a small win here. Maybe you can get another small win here. That's especially if you have like, let's say, you know, a 20 pip stop loss, 30 pip stop loss. You can get your moves, but just expect them, you know, a bit of drawdown and not a full follow through. They got beautifully. This actually support stopped right by 65%. Created a support right over here. We did wick through it. Wick through it, create a support. So that's the kind of environment that we're in. And I think the reason being is because market is kind of creating some kind of small structure over here. If you notice, if you just want to put some trend lines on, sure, we're moving down. There's a big bearish volume coming in, but at the same time, it's like kind of starting to find its feet. You know, it's starting to find its legs a bit. If it's going to retrace it on the daily and keep moving up for the weekly. Clean with the clean range on the daily, the clean candlesticks that we have on the daily on the left hand side, it's trying to find its feet. So you know, that's why the same Monday is like a kind of setting up kind of day. So I'm quite happy, you know, made a trade here today. At least a successful trade. Did I need it? Well, at least it got me to 2% on the day. I don't really need it, but at least I'm up for the day. 2%. So I think it was a nice move. Dollar has to retreat higher time frame into CISD. CISD. Buys. These are gold longs on the 15 minute. Look at this, man. Trying to get people in this app here. It's like a shoe store. So you got how to check the price. Turn on location services on your phone for the best results. Open the KOHL's app, tap the scan button and scan any barcode. Add to cart. This guy's like, bro, just put the goddamn price on the item. I hate it when they do this. I hate it when they hide prices of things. And then you have to contact them and then ask them what the price is. Oh, we got Steve Madden. Steve Madden. This always reminds me of Wolf of Wall Street and Ludes. When they were on Ludes and that guy was like Steve Madden. Women's shoes. True story. Got 30% off here. Dad, why didn't you buy Bitcoin? Yeah, this was valid. Get all these games. Vice City. Got Counter-Strike there. Yeah, where were you when Bitcoin was still at $100? What were you doing? What were you doing, Mom? I was still a kid. I didn't know nothing. What were you doing, Dad? Bitcoin was $100. We would be multi-millionaires today. I was too busy playing Nintendo with my friends, you know? And touching electricity fences. I didn't have the brains for that. I have a theory that the price is different for each customer when they hide the price. Oh, they suss you out and choose. Yeah, exactly. They're gonna profile you and say, oh, this guy has money, so we're gonna charge this guy more. So if you come in with a mad watch, the price triples. Yes. You know, it's got a little bit of liquidity grab over here. Nice, beautiful liquidity grab. See this? Beautiful long wick. Just needs to re-break these lows. This will need a strong push down towards 33.33. That's a 65% mark from before. 33.33. Gotta break these lows. See how big the stop is from here to here? That's about, you know, like 31 pips. Range is about 25 pips. Not a bad idea. I am still team bears. As far as the overall price action goes, I am team bears, but I do understand why the bulls might be coming in. Because if you look at the daily, man, that whole zone here does not look pretty. Just technically speaking, without the fundamentals, this does not look pretty at all. But if you give me a sell, I'm going to be happier with the sell. Let's remove that zone. We don't need that zone anymore because the consolidation has been extended from here to down here. You know that theory, Woods, that the theory that the price is different for each customer when they hide the price? It also happens with brokerages too. You know, if you have more money, then sometimes you can get manipulated. If it's a dodgy broker, they're not gonna manipulate the small guy. They'd rather manipulate the big guy a bit more. They do it with spreads. They do it with spreads, and I see it. Also, I see markets does it to some extent sometimes. You know, they take a few dollars here and there, but you know those really add up. If you consider the amount of people trading on their brokerages, just like a few dollars here and there, it like really adds up. When I was AFK, I set the SL, forgot the TP, and went to TP and then back to SL. Oh, damn. Was it from the sell that we took earlier? Or what did you do here? Oh, so that came into profit. Holy. Came into profit, then... Oh, man, that sucks. Yeah, you should put the... Never forget... Yeah, at least you got the stop loss. You know, that's the most important thing. Because price could have just kept going in the opposite direction. So, you know, screw the... Okay, so I'm going to ban this Jerry guy. Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Nobody wants to buy a Pokemon. This is not even a Pokemon stream. Yeah, but anyway, at least you set the... At least you set the stop loss. At least you set the stop loss. Because imagine if price was all the way up over here. Then what? Then what would you do? Damn, that's why you know what happens is the first time people do mental stop loss, it always becomes a no stop loss strategy. Like, trust me, the first time, because you know, when we all start trading, we always set the physical stop loss, correct? Because you know, we want to do it the proper way. So we're going to set a take profit, we're going to set a stop loss. But once you start realizing that, you know, spread sometimes gets you out, then price reverses and you go onto mental stop loss. For a lot of people, what happens is price goes into drawdown. Maybe it spikes above that area like additional 5 pips. And they keep holding, thinking that price can come down. Then it goes 10 pips and they keep holding 15, 20 pips and they're still holding. So then it eventually becomes no stop loss. No stop loss strategy. And then you're just praying at that point. So it takes a lot of discipline to not use a stop loss. You know, sometimes you see when I take my trades, when I'm showing you guys my trades on the reels, there's never a stop loss. You only see the entry because I'm manually getting out my positions, and it takes a lot of discipline that if price breaks this area, because this is what you're trying to avoid, a situation like this, then stop gets you out, or spread gets you out, or different price points based on broker gets you out, right? But it takes a lot of discipline that if it goes against you, that you can accept a loss. A lot of people can't accept a loss. The most dangerous thing to do is to go into a trade with a mindset that you're going to be aggressive with the position by not accepting that you've already lost. When I take a trade, I've already accepted the loss. Whatever trade that I take, it's, let's say if I'm risking like $500, I've accepted that I have already lost the $500. That way you can kind of make the best decision that you can make. But man, if you can't accept it before getting into the trade, then you know that's when analysis paralysis comes in, second guessing, and all of these things. You're gonna be like, oh man, this drawdown, is it a good trade? Because now I'm in drawdown. Are you up for the month? 104%. What is this? Oh, this is a month? This is a week? Yesterday. $3,500. Nice. Yesterday was like Friday. Well, oh, okay, I get it. Yesterday was Friday. Okay. How was Friday, PA? I didn't even look at the charts on Friday. I don't think. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, Friday was a good day. Oh, Friday was a good day. I think we could have caught this move here. Little accumulation breakout. Bearish momentum to the downside. Oh man, look at this. Since Asia session, Wednesday we pushed down. This is Thursday. Thursday we're still pushing down. Asia session is moving bearish. Little bit of an accumulation breakout over here. Break below lows, stop loss above this area. That was a London open move. There's a London open breakout. Damn, SMA confluence. Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday. Yeah, so let's see how this week goes. Every time I took a trade, I need to go to the bathroom. Yeah, me too. Every time. Especially after this session. Once I'm done with this session here, it's always like that. Before my pre-London stream, I always have these trades that I gotta go to the bathroom. I always gotta go to the bathroom when the trade is coming. That's the most annoying thing. If you want to become a millionaire, you know, this is a problem that a lot of people are talking about. So you can create some kind of trader diaper. You can wear trader diapers. Hey, I would not be surprised if the folks down at the Wall Street there have a trader diapers. You know, they're kind of like astronauts, but of the stock market. So, you know, when you're dealing with a lot of money, you're going to choose two things. You're going to choose to go to the bathroom, or you're going to choose to make and manage money efficiently. So I wonder how they do it. The retail trader is different. You know, a retail trader, you know, fuck it. You lose like $500. Maybe you miss the setup. Man, at that level, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars in the line. But sir, I need to go to the bathroom. You got hundreds of millions of dollars in the line, and you want to go take a potentially $50 million piss. Is your piss worth $50 million? So, you know, that's what I'm thinking. They definitely have some trader diapers or something like that. Or a toilet chair. One of those medieval chairs where it just goes to the street. It just flows to the street. That's Wall Street for you. Do you use footprint charts? No. Why would I use a footprint chart when the footprints are in the candlesticks? You know, you're gonna see like the wicks and the candlestick bodies. Those are the footprints. What is a footprint chart gonna tell you that price action is not telling you right now? It's just gonna give you a reason to get into a trade. Maybe you're gonna see like, I don't know, some kind of point of control over here of sorts, and then you're gonna want to get into a buy. But the truth is, like, you know, price is just ranging here. That's why for me, it's like these London sessions have been like very, very difficult. Like, London needs to open, chat. Like, it really needs to open up for me. But I think where I went wrong with a bunch of losses I think I could have avoided was because I was counter trending London session. You know, if I avoided the counter trend moves, then worst case scenario, I get stuck in accumulation like we did today, but the trade still plays out. But when you're counter trending London coupled with no volume, that's just a recipe for disaster. You know, so you have a lot more going against you. And that was the first time I would say in a year or so, maybe a couple of years, that it took me that long to realize a market shift. Because, you know, for me, I'm always about adapting to the market. One thing about me is I'm quickly adapting to the market the moment I notice kind of any sort of bleeding. But I think what it was is because I took so many trades in July that my London trades, they kind of got jumbled up. I couldn't see properly because I was taking way too many trades. But, you know, I was over trading here in July. So it's only like more towards the mid or end that I realized that that's what's been going on. Yeah, adapting to the market is very important, guys. Like, it's always such a small thing, but you have to pay attention to it. Like, you see these little speed bumps like this. When you start getting speed bumps right after the other, you gotta say, hold on. No more bleeding. We have to stop the bleeding. You know, like some months at the end of the month, you're gonna look at how much money you spend and you're gonna be like, where's all this money gone? You know, why am I spending more than I'm making? And then you gotta see, where can you stop the bleeding? Because trading is like a business. So businesses, they bleed a lot of money. You know, so businesses always gotta tighten things up a bit sometimes. Yeah, I remember when I first started YouTube streaming, man, I bled a lot of money, you know, on softwares and all of this stuff, to realize that I didn't even need those things. And I was paying these fees like monthly that was not making any sense. So you got to stop that bleeding. So some of y'all need to put like a bandage on your trading account. You know, maybe your account now is leaking over here because you're over trading. So you have like a small little leak. And that's where the bleeding's going. Then you just got to patch it up, put a bandage, boom. 1 or 2 trades per day. And then something else going to open up. Now you're going to find maybe you're taking too many FOMO trades. You know, water starts to leak, then you got to patch that up. FOMO trades. And it's all about getting 1% better every day. You know, there's always going to be something. That's the thing. They say if you're not having a lot of problems, you're not moving fast enough. Because if you feel like everything is under control, sometimes it means that you're not moving fast enough. You know, if you have a business that's moving really fast, you're going to find like, boom, this area needs to be fixed. That area needs to be fixed. This area needs to be fixed. Because you're growing really fast, you know. So you're learning a lot. You're learning how to cover all these bases like this. But when you're moving slow, obviously you're just going to have like one spill here. And that's why I'm saying enjoy the journey. Enjoy where you're currently at right now, because at least you can manage the smallest spills. You know, you can manage it on a day-to-day basis like this. Correct? But now if you're starting with, let's say, big risk, if you're risking maybe even 50% of what you're worth, you've invested into trading and you're not successful, the bleeding is going to be like a fast-paced bleeding. And you know, you might not be ready to patch that up. And then what happens is the dam breaks. It breaks and then the account blows. And then you're going to say, oh, but trading is a scam. No, the real scam is that you thought you're going to make money really, really fast. You know, it takes time to make money. It doesn't matter if it's trading or anything else. It really does take time. Taking risk is a great motivator to patch things up. Yes. I got into a taxi the other day and the driver had obviously just pissed in a bottle. I could see it in the door, all frothing up, and could smell it. Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, so let me see. Let me see. Do traders on Wall Street wear diapers? Diapers. How do you spell diapers? I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Not typically, but here's the funny truth. Traders on Wall Street don't literally wear diapers, but the stress, pressure, and adrenaline during crazy market movements have led to jokes and legends that some do, especially during events like flash crashes, FOMC rate decisions, insane option expirations, 2008 style meltdowns. In high-frequency trading, where every millisecond matters, there have been rumors and memes about bathroom breaks being skipped, but in reality, most traders just hold it. Some use standing desks, drink water smartly, and manage breaks. Yeah, I mean, like, also this, man, I've realized drinking this cup of water over here, it's also risk management. I have to manage I have to balance hydration and when a move is about to come. Diapers, that's more internet lore than common practice. So unless you're in a 10-hour Tesla earnings scalp with $50 million on the line, you're probably fine with that one. I mean, come on, someone's gotta slip up every once in a while. You know, you could be so stressed and you overdrink. You overdrink and then you don't realize it. But remember, drink more water, guys. Don't be afraid of the water here. It's good for you. I low-key want to start a gaming stream. I think gaming streams are so much fun. Like, those guys easily do like 5 hours, 7 hour streams. Yesterday I played about like just about that much. I played about 7 hours of The Last of Us and I didn't get paid for it. It would be nice to get like a Twitch stream. At least that will be productive. Because I'm not much of a gamer. I just only wanted a game because I got a new GPU. So I got myself, let me show you. I got myself this controller over here. I think it's a pretty cool controller. That's a PS5 control. Oh, add device. I think it went on. Yeah, it's connected via Bluetooth. But I got myself this controller and I just tested it out. It's pretty sick. PS5 controller actually works quite nicely. Like, you get all the adaptive triggers and haptic feedbacks with certain games. So like, this is sick. Now we just gotta start a stream. We used to game on the stream, but we'd lose like 90% of viewers. Because they're like, what is this guy doing here? Why is he talking about video games? I came to learn how to trade. So I gotta open a new stream. I used to play so much old games / retro games. I have a huge database. Wow, 30 terabytes more or less. Yeah, I miss the old games. Crash Bandicoot and that sort of thing. Vic, you need a Cronus Zen connected to your controller. What is that? Cronus Zen. Alright, I'll bookmark it. It's like some aimbot. I'll bookmark it. If you do it Wednesdays, I'll join 100%. Let's go, Woods. I already got the Twitch ready. My lips are actually dry. I don't think I drank water for that whole 7 hours. These gamer streamers, man, they got it easy. They got it so easy. Sometimes I watch this guy stream like 5 hours, 8 hours. And you think like, how are they doing it? Man, it's so easy when you're playing a game. When you're trading, being on here, even, you know, we stream like 3 hours. It feels pretty... Oh, shit, it's already 3:20. Holy, time's just flying over here, guys. Yeah, so I wanted to make you guys a lecture today. So I think I'm going to go and do that. I got some PowerPoint slides I wanted to share with y'all. And try to upload it on YouTube today. But yeah, we've been on the charts here for a minute, it seems, and price has only had, you see, in reality, that's the only move that I could have taken. I could have only taken the sell. So that's it. That was it. I could just take the sell here down towards support. Price moved upwards. Now it's consolidating. You see, you haven't had really another move. Like, this is the only move over here, and now this is like a V-shaped reversal, taking out the previous sellers, and now it's accumulating orders, waiting for that next move. You know, we got accumulation, waiting for potential distribution to the downside, or rather to the upside. So now it's setting up for the next move. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head out here, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. See you for London Open tomorrow. That's 3 a.m. Eastern. Take care, everybody. Don't overtrade, and adios.